Oh, Merry Christmas in July as I'm recording this. It's literally July 19th. But hey, Christmas in July. And by the way, we have that here on the channel, Christmas in July. Check out those videos. I'll leave the playlist link down below so you can check that out. But I had the hat on because today on Time About the Movies, we are taking a look at Christmas weekend 2010. It's the weekend, of course, of Christmas, and all through the movie industry, creatures were stirring. Some real bad stinkers too, including the big new release of the holiday season, the third installment in the Meet the Parents series, Little Fockers, which that's going to be a trip to talk about. But we do have some good stuff too. Aside from the lump of coal, of course, we have the Coen brothers with their remake of True Grit with Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, and a young little star named Haley Steinfeld, who was pretty good in the movie, but I don't think she's really gone on to do anything of significance. What the hell was that wink? But I'm already wasting your time on this intro. We have Jack Black in the big screen comedy adaptation of Gulliver's Travels. We have Sofia Coppola's latest film, Somewhere, and we have Gwyneth Paltrow starring in Country Strong. It's Christmas weekend 2010. It's Time About the Movies. I'm already wasting a lot of your time. Let's just get to the show.
Hey, parents. Are you still physically attracted to my daughter, Greg?
Yes, it's all good under the hood.
You've met his parents.
What is it, Grandpa Granny?
Jack. Lift up your leg. But if you think you've seen it all,
I want you to represent our new tribe.
It's erectile dysfunction medicine.
you mind explaining this? You're in for a big surprise.
You've had that for more than 4 hours, you gotta get a shot.
There's no way I'm going to ER room at this thing. Little Fockers. Rated PG-13.
Oh, this movie. Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 5 films of December 24th, 2010. Christmas weekend, of course, and the biggest new release of them all is Little Fockers, the third installment of the Meet the Parents series, which the decade started off with Meet the Parents back in 2000, and it was a massive hit. Meet the Fockers ended up being a bigger hit 4 years after that, and we had to wait only 6 years between those movies to eventually get to this film, not made by the same people who made the last 2 movies, except John Hamburg, the writer of those 2 movies, back for this one. But other than that, though, it's mostly new people, except for the cast, of course. Main players are back in town here, and a couple new additions here, and some people who weren't planning to be in this movie, but they pushed them back in anyway. This is one of those movies that had one of those bizarre production histories behind it, and yeah, it's definitely one we're talking about. It has taken 10 years, 2 little Fockers and his wife Pam, and countless hurdles for Greg to finally get in with his tightly wound father-in-law Jack. After the cash-strapped dad takes a job moonlighting for a drug company, however, Jack's suspicions about his favorite male nurse come roaring back. While Greg and Pam's entire clan, including Pam's lover and ex Kevin, played by Owen Wilson, descend for the twins' birthday party, Greg must prove to the skeptical Jack that he's fully capable as the man of the house. But with all the misunderstandings, spying, and covert missions, will Greg pass Jack's final test and become the family's next patriarch, or will the circle of trust be broken for good? What do you think is going to happen in this really pointless sequel where it literally has no reason to exist except for the fact that they want a trilogy so bad for this movie, and boy, they struggled to get it. Let me tell you, you wouldn't think that this movie had that many problems behind the scenes, but nope, this thing had a huge production problem. Maybe not quite as bad as How Do You Know, which also starred Owen Wilson, which we talked about last time, but let's put it this way. The film was originally scheduled for July 2010. They pushed it back to December, later revealed to be deliberately delayed only because it was, at the time, the delay announcement that the character of Dustin Hoffman was coming back to play the role. However, they didn't announce that until way into August. A trailer had already dropped for this movie in June, and there was no mention of Dustin Hoffman's character returning, so they had to reshoot everything to get Dustin Hoffman back in here. And then, you know, in addition to both Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller basically getting $20 million for the role, the budget on this skyrocketed to $100 million for this movie. A Meet the Parents movie should not cost $100 million. I don't care what happens here. Nothing happens in a Meet the Parents movie that warrants that big of a budget. And yeah, it made its money back. It made $310 million worldwide, but it was still the lesser of the three. It was still made less than the previous movies, and it was panned by critics, and not only panned, destroyed by them. I mean, this movie, I've been building this one up for a while now because it is definitely one of the worst sequels you will ever see in your life. It's one of those movies where they don't have a good story. They have ideas they have little ideas and things that they build up and establish, but they never take the time to fully expand on the story. They start it and then it just pushes it aside. Laura Dern's character is the character played by Laura Dern. There's a subplot where she plays the head of this school, and Greg's trying to get his kid in there, and you think that's going to be a big subplot. Never gets mentioned again. Harvey Keitel stars in this movie. You think he's going to have a big role in here? Never mentioned again. Dustin Hoffman, like I said, coming in here, you think that they're making a big deal about him coming in here. He barely shows up in this movie And like, it really would have been better if he had just not showed up altogether. Like, you would have just said, "Oh, Dustin Hoffman's character is off somewhere. Like he's off in Narnia or something like that. I don't know, Narnia or something like that." Because his character really does not add anything to this movie per se. The whole thing about this movie is repeating the same goddamn tropes we had the last time around. Because the last two movies, Ben Stiller had to earn Robert De Niro's trust. He did it twice. And now for some reason, we got to do it again. And, Jack's got to have this plan to, be his successor to the family. And he decides to pass the role to Greg, naming him, you know what's coming if you've seen this movie, The Godfucker. The Godfucker. That's even worse than Robert De Niro imitating Taxi Driver in the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie. That was bad, but that at least had a point to it. There's no excuse for this. There's also no excuse for the bad attempts at comedy in here. Gross out comedy, too. There's poop jokes. There's jokes of people getting cut. There's a lot of screaming. There's a scene you see a little bit in the trailer there where Robert De Niro has to have Ben Stiller stick a needle in his penis because he took an erectile dysfunction drug, and with the kid watching him and all that, it caused him to break his arm. Funny stuff, right? I know. But, yeah, this movie is an ungodly mess of a movie. But nothing pales in comparison to the worst thing about this movie, and that is Jessica Alba. It's hard to believe that nearly 10 years ago she had this promising career with Dark Angel, and then she started Honey, and then she was in the Fantastic Four. But ever since then, it's been nothing but crap after crap after crap. Into the Blue, Good Luck Chuck, Awake, The Eye, The Love Guru, but this right here may be the worst of the worst because not only is she playing a pointless character who's there to be a third wheel that Ben Stiller wants nothing to do with whatsoever. If there was even a scene where their connection was there and there was a little bit of chemistry, then maybe her purpose could be there, but there is absolutely nothing that Ben Stiller and Jessica Alba have in terms of chemistry. It's clear that Ben Stiller is a happily married man, and Jessica Alba just can't take it. Like, she literally just cannot take it, and is willing to do whatever it takes to somehow add an element of this that does not need to be there, being the third wheel in the storyline. And her attempts at comedy in here are so fucking terrible. You want proof? Take a look at this.
Right? Andy, no! That's not nice. You don't throw people's phones and fits. Andy, put the clothes back on. Whoa!
It's bad enough if I have to praise her and Good Luck Chuck and The Love Guru for at least trying to be funny, trying to be screwballish. That's how you know this movie is fucked up big time. Her character is only there so Jack can have this big misunderstanding where he thinks that Greg is cheating on his daughter, and there was not one point in this movie where that is even the slightest possibility. But no, we got to have it in there so we can have this incredibly pointless scene where Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro beat the crap out of each other at the kid's birthday party. That's all. That's the only reason we have this in this movie. This is a pathetic attempt to try to create a trilogy that was never intended to be a trilogy whatsoever. I've always had this thing with comedy sequels. The best time to do a comedy sequel is 2 to 4 years. 5 years, maybe. Anything after that, you might as well just abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Because we have seen time and time again what happens when comedy sequels take way too long after the last movie to get made. We've had some real bad movies. We've had some really terrible stinkers. And this right here is definitely high up there with some of the worst comedy sequels ever made. And the shocker of all shock is that we thought we were done with this series after this film, but nope. Universal has already scheduled a 4th movie coming out next November. And hey, we've got Ariana Grande in it too, and we might as well make another movie before Robert De Niro, Blythe Danner, hell, Dustin Hoffman and Barbra Streisand don't have much time left on this earth. Let's make another one. Why? Because Meet the Parents is money, baby. Even though this movie was completely trounced by everybody and nobody remembers this movie whatsoever. I don't get it, man. I don't get it with these movies. With this film in particular, I don't get. The other two, I can understand. But this is the worst of the worst. And the fact that somebody at Universal has the nerve and the audacity to say, we need to make more of this. It's like Garfield. Whoever that is, I feel like Garfield. Whoever made that decision should be drugged down to the street and shot. Plain and simple. But, I seriously don't do that. This is a joke, folks. These are the jokes. But this movie sucks. This is a terrible way to start the holiday season for, honestly, a pretty lackluster holiday movie season when you really look back on it. I mean, the best movies we saw were the Oscar contenders this year. I mean, we had Black Swan. We have another one coming up in just a little bit here. 127 Hours. What was another one we talked about? Not Winter's Bone, because we did that in the summer. But we've seen all these other... The Fighter was another one. We've seen all these Oscar contenders. Those are the ones that usually aren't the stronger movies of the holiday season in terms of main releases. But this year in particular, it's been kind of a dull stretch. I mean, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was good. Tangled was really good. We had Tron Legacy. We did have some good mainstream stuff here and there, but in terms of but this right here is just a prime example of what happens when studios are so desperate for a quick buck. They say, make a sequel, fuck a script, we'll let the film work itself out, and it just doesn't work. So, yeah, I think you get the hint here. Hard skip on Little Fockers. So, speaking of the big Oscar contenders, here's another one that easily should have won the Oscar over The King's Speech for Best Picture, the Coen Brothers remake of True Grit.
In your years as U.S. Marshal, how many men have you shot?
Shot or killed?
Tom Cheney killed my father, and I need somebody to go after him. Can we depart this afternoon?
We.
I'm a Texas Ranger. It is at least a two-man job taking Cheney alive.
I do not regret shooting your father.
What is your intention?
I mean to kill you today.
Help me.
I can do nothing for you, son.
Rated PG-13, December 22nd.
This is, of course, based off of the 1969 John Wayne movie that won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, and the novel by Charlie Portis. And in this film, it revolves around the 14-year-old girl named Maddie Ross, now played by Haley Steinfeld in her feature film debut, seeking revenge for the death of her father by Tom Cheney, played by Josh Brolin. To get revenge for her father's death, she seeks out Rooster Cogburn, played by Jeff Bridges, and Texas Ranger LaBeouf, played by Matt Damon, to assist her in getting revenge. Now, at the time I saw this movie, I didn't see the 1969 movie, but I mean, it's you know who John Wayne is. I mean, my grandmother was loved John Wayne so much. She had pictures in her house for the longest time, and when she eventually passed away, she still had those pictures, and we were able to bring them into our home too. But I mean, what more can you say about John Wayne? I've seen the movie since then, and it's a classic movie, a great Western all across the board, and this one was really interesting because I thought at the time that the remake's really good. I mean, this is a really good movie. It will probably not as good as the original, but having seen both of them, I gotta admit, this is definitely one of the best, if not one of the best remakes I've ever made. Like, this is a movie that is right up there with the original True Grit. I mean, this is a movie where Jeff Bridges gives another great standout performance as Rooster Cogburn. I really would have liked to have seen her get another Oscar for this. And Haley Steinfeld, we know what she is nowadays. She starred in the Pitch Perfect movies. She was just in Sinner. She's Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies. She's proven her worth as an actress time and time again. You get great performances by Josh Brolin and Matt Damon. They're kind of the lesser parts of the movie, but overall they're really good. The shooting sequences are very well done. It really is a great movie that fits so well for what the Coen brothers should bring to the table. This is really one of their best movies that they've done, up there with The Big Lebowski and No Country for Old Men and Fargo. This is definitely high up there with some of their best movies, easily. And one that I really think should have gotten a Best Picture Oscar. I mean, it really is one of the best movies of the year. And again, another great movie that was much better than the actual Best Picture winner in The King's Speech. I'm sorry I keep harping on this, but I'm sorry. The King's Speech is not a good movie. Plain and simple, so. But anyway, that's True Grit for you. Let's go ahead and get on to our next movie. A movie that you would think would be the worst movie of the weekend, but with little Fockers, it's not that. It's not that. It's still bad, but I'll explain it when we get to after I show you a little bit from Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, give me your press badge. No way, you're not my dad. Then I shall take it by force. Oh, he's my brother. Then you shouldn't have made out with him. What do you hope to get out of being in the mailroom?
I hope to get out of being in the mailroom.
You're hired.
How long have you had this crush on the travel editor?
On Darcy? No way, dude.
How's your day going?
Really good. Just really, really good.
Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, wait. I forgot something.
Yeah, me too.
Gulliver, you're not my boss anymore.
It's impossible. You just got here.
I'm your boss now. It's over for you. Never really gonna get any bigger than this.
You think I don't have plans? I got big plans. I got a writing sample I've been working on. It's dynamite.
I had no idea you wrote. I think I have the perfect fluff piece to start you off with. There's a guy who claims he has the secret to the Bermuda Triangle. So what do you say?
We'll see you in 3 weeks with a story that's gonna blow your mind.
You just follow that dot, and you'll find yourself in a triangle.
Done. Okay. Where's the clutch?
Not a great big hairy beast.
What? Pound it with your fist. Don't shave off my sideburns. I need those mutton chops.
See, when you watch that trailer, you get the brief flashes of promise with this movie. Like that scene at the end with the foosball table was really funny. There's a lot of good moments in here where they actually do have some good elements of comedy. This is co-written by Nicholas Stoller and written by Joe Stillman. Joe Stillman, of course, wrote for King of the Hill. But then again, he also wrote for Planet 51, and we all know how bad that was. But Nicholas Stoller, of course, did Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which coincidentally features Jason Segel in here, and would later feature Emily Blunt, who would star in Stoller's The 5-Year Engagement, which came out a couple years later. This is, of course, based off of the classic story of Gulliver's Travels, where you have... It's a modern-day setting with modern-day pop culture references, because, of course, we gotta have that. And Jack Black plays this New York City mailroom guy who is fired from his job, but he decides to become a writer and basically write a fake article about his travels. And Amanda Peet is this woman he falls in love with, and she decides to send him to the Bermuda Triangle to write an article about the legend of ships disappearing there. He arrives there and finds out that he's actually fallen into this water spout that takes him to the shore of Lilliput, and that's beginning the story of where, you know, Gulliver is the big guy in town, and everybody is small. You got all these characters played by Billy Connolly, Chris O'Dowd, Catherine Tate, Jason Segel, Emily Blunt. This is directed by Rob Letterman. Rob Letterman had done Monsters vs. Aliens the year prior to this. He was mostly known for his animated work, mostly with Shark Tale a couple years prior to this. But, you know, this was his turn to more live-action stuff because he would later go on and do Goosebumps, and then he did Detective Pikachu. But, yeah, this is not a great movie, but to its credit, it's not a bad movie. Again, there are times where it is a film that does feature a lot of intriguing ideas and a lot of intriguing visuals, some funny ideas, and some ideas that sound like they are part of the typical kid movie storylines here. Like, there's a part in the movie where Jack Black has to set a fire out and eat peas, and you think that, oh, they just added it in there. But no, it turns out that's actually in the books, the original books from the 1700s. And yeah, I was really shocked by that. I couldn't believe that was actually in there. But yeah, this is a movie where, yeah, it's definitely a film that is not a great movie. It's a film that is very much the typical big-budget, modern kids movie with a lot of, like, gross-out humor jokes. But at the same time, the brief flashes of promise that are in this movie do give it some light. There are a couple of decent, funny moments in here. There are times when the visuals look pretty good. I mean, there definitely is effort being put into this film. Not enough to make me say it's a film you might want to check out, but it's definitely not as bad as it could have been, especially considering what came out this weekend with Little Fockers. I think that one is a much bigger disaster in general. This one was at least trying to do something unique and different with it. Didn't work all the way through, but it wasn't the worst thing ever. And I guess that's probably the best thing you could say about it. It wasn't the worst thing ever. But it is, with all that said, it does give us the greatest thing that this is the greatest thing possible with this movie, and that is to get to hear Jack Black and Jason Segel is redoing a classic Christmas song in the tradition of David Bowie and Bing Crosby. That was, of course, the Little Drummer Boy. They were doing the riff on David Bowie and Bing Crosby singing the song back in the 70s, and that was for College Humor. That's one of my favorite videos that I go back to every holiday season. It's just precursor to what Jack Black does with a lot of these songs in these movies. I mean, they may not be great movies, but every time that Jack Black sings a song in here, for some reason, you cannot look away from it. It's something where it's just like who would have guessed in Kung Fu Panda 4, him doing Hit Me Baby One More Time would be one of the best things about that movie. I mean, look at what Peach is for the Super Mario Brothers movie. I mean, the guy is known for being a pretty fun comedian, but he can also be a really good music guy as well. I mean, he was in Tenacious D, for God's sake, so it makes sense. Jason Segel was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he had the Muppet vampire thing, the puppet vampire thing. Like, the pieces are definitely there. That's probably the best thing from this movie, but other than that, everything else is not bad, but certainly could have been a whole lot worse. Mostly a mixed opinion, but more leaning towards a slight negative on it. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it isn't a great film either, and it certainly could have been a whole lot worse, especially with 20th Century Fox behind it, so I guess we should be grateful for that. So those are the big blockbusters of the holiday season. Now let's get to some of the more independent releases that we're hoping for Oscar contention. Sofia Coppola with her latest film, Somewhere, with Ellie Fanning, and Stephen Dorff in a rare leading role late in his career where it actually plays it off pretty well. Yeah, Stephen Dorff leading a movie in 2010, and it's not some stupid Asylum or Uwe Boll movie like Alone in the Dark. And it actually is really good. But he plays a newly famous actor who, recuperating from a minor injury at the Chateau Marmont, a well-known Hollywood retreat, and despite money, fame, and professional success, Marco is trapped in an existential crisis and has an emotional, empty daily life. When his ex-wife suffers an unexplained breakdown and goes awry, she leaves Cleo, played by Ellie Fanning, an 11-year-old daughter, in his care. They spend time together, and her presence helps Marco mature and accept his own responsibility, and it explores boredom among Hollywood stars, the father-daughter relationships, and offers an oblique comedy of show business, particularly Hollywood filmmaking, and the life of a star. And what's interesting about this movie is that it's not as good as some of Coppola's other works. I mean, I love Lost in Translation. I really like Maria Antoinette. This one is probably the weakest of the films that she has done up to this point, but it still isn't a bad movie at all. It's just a movie where it just works because it's a great slow burn thriller. It's not even a thriller, a slow burn drama that kind of just takes you back to the old days, like back in the 50s and 60s. It feels like that type of a movie where the film takes its time, it handles the characters very well, the story becomes the more important aspect of it overall, and it works really well. It's a film that really does show Stephen Dorff does have a lot of potential as an actor. You know, Ellie Fanning, this is one of her earliest film roles. She shows her potential as an actress going forward that we'll see later on down the road. And Sofia Coppola still has what it takes to make a great film. I think there's a lot of good elements in here. It's not one of her better movies, but it's definitely a film that is well worth the watch. I can't recommend it enough. If you love Lost in Translation, The Virgin Suicides, Maria Antoinette, you're going to love Somewhere. I think it is a very good film. One I'd highly recommend checking out. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is Gwyneth Paltrow starring in Country Strong.
That's a country music to come around in a long time.
She's in it for the fame.
Charles, who is your idol?
Kelly Kaner and Jesus Christ.
You and Jesus Christ, who'd have thought? He's in it for the music.
You gonna let this prom queen get up on stage?
Don't worry. I have no intention of stealing your invisible career.
But there's nothing like the road.
If you want to sing those country pop songs, you go right ahead. But you're better than that.
To bring two people together.
Don't be afraid to fall in love. It's the only thing that matters in life.
Country Strong. Rated PG-13.
Gwyneth Paltrow saw Jeff Bridges get his Oscar last year for Crazy Heart, and she was just like, I need to get my Oscar too, so here's my Crazy Heart right here. And people, I think, were smart enough to kind of stay away from this one. Gwyneth Paltrow plays an emotionally unstable country music star who attempts to revive her faltering career, while you also have this other subplot involving this other rising country music star, played by Leighton Meester from Gossip Girl. It has a good cast overall in here. Gwyneth Paltrow, Tim McGraw, Garrett Hedlund, and Meester. Leighton Meester, somebody I've really loved every time I've seen her. Like, so the first time I ever saw her was in Entourage, when she played not Vinny Chase's girlfriend. Who was she on Entourage? Was she Vinny Chase's girlfriend? Now I'm curious. Justine Chapin. Yeah, she was. Like, she, an on and off again girlfriend. Not really officially a girlfriend, but somebody that she hung around with Vincent Chase's character. And ever since then, I was really invested by her. I never watched Gossip Girl, but the girl not only is a good actor, but she can sing her ass off. I mean, if you ever hear the song Good Girls Go Bad, I mean, that's a great song in general. And her songs in here are good. She's the one person I think comes out of this relatively unscathed as the real highlight of the movie, to show that, hey, this isn't just an actress that you see on Gossip Girl. This is somebody who can really be a really good actress all across the board here. But unfortunately, the biggest problem with this movie is that it's another Crazy Heart. It's another Coal Miner's Daughter. It's another Tender Mercies. It's a movie that's begging for an Oscar for its leading star, and it's just not there. People, I think, were not stupid enough to go ahead and buy into this one, despite having the people they have in here. And I think they were smart enough to stay away from this one. And this is directed by somebody who's not a really good director, Shauna Festi, whose next movie she makes is even worse than this, the remake of Endless Love, which somehow makes the terrible 1980s Endless Love look like a masterpiece by comparison. That's how bad this director is. So yeah, this is a film that has good intentions, but just a terrible script, a generic script overall. The actors are trying their best to save it, and it's just not there. The only person, like I said, comes out relatively unscathed is Leighton Meester. I think she's actually really good at the movie. She's the real heart of the film. She's the one person who carries this film all the way through, but unfortunately, the rest of the film is just kind of complete garbage, so yeah. Yeah, I don't think I need to tell you, you can avoid Country Strong like the plague, and yeah, pay no attention to the fact that it was nominated for Best Original Song. You're not winning an Oscar in that year when you're up against a song from Toy Story 3. Get the hell out of here with that. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. We wrap up 2010, the first year of the decade of the 2010s, with our annual Leftovers show. And as you can see here, if the fan will hold still, not that many. I was actually kind of surprised when I put this list together, but of the 7 films we have here, we have Bitch Slap, which is supposed to be another like grindhouse type of movie that went straight to DVD. We have the one new release that comes out this weekend, Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams in Blue Valentine. We have some DC animated movies, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, Batman Under the Red Hood, and Superman Batman Apocalypse. And we have a couple of Universal direct-to-DVD titles, Smoking Aces 2, Assassin's Ball, and Death Race 2. And then we have Barry Levinson directing Al Pacino as Jack Kevorkian in the HBO original movie, You Don't Know Jack. So we will take a look at those 7 movies, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4... 8 movies coming up on the next episode as we wrap 2010 up for good. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and also don't forget to hit our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. And with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.